Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Peter Terzopin. Got a lot of sun on Memorial Day weekend, a lot of soccer with the kids, and got to be 3 long days, so the camera, of course, makes it look even worse. You can tell where I have my glasses on. But having said that, a great time. And what was interesting is I had got a survey back from a school, and I won't mention the school, but it was just basically average results, compared to everybody else in every other section of the class, and there's a lot of sections. So, but what was interesting about it was I had a student comment, and I had multiple students that said that they liked the feedback, meaning the advanced use of videos allowed them to know, one, that the video was, I actually looked at their work. They realized that I was emphasizing a lot more in my comments than what would be seen normally with the cut and paste written results. And they liked the personal effect. And it was really interesting to see that and to get that. And it's always nice to see how videos or written feedback are perceived and accepted. And what was interesting is one student, which it was just simply one student, and I know who it was, just for the simple fact that they had made comments throughout the course, is that what's interesting is you have a student who sits there and says that I read the papers and that it looks like I'm skimming papers. And I'm here to tell you, and I've said this before, and I don't mean to break the bubble. If some of you haven't heard this before, this is a spoiler alert when it comes to professors. So I would probably click off of this and not read or watch the rest of it. But professors don't read everything you write. They don't read every word that you write. That's a myth, okay? And the ones that do have very, very small classes, like maybe 5 students and very few assignments. But I'm telling you right now, I've been to private schools that are top tier in the States, top 10, top 5. I've been through public schools that are very solid, not in the rankings, but just in the sense of quality education. And I've been through online schools and military training. I'm here to tell you right now, it's pretty consistent across the board that professors are skimming, if you want to use that word, or maybe a better word would be they're scanning, because they're looking for misspelled words, they're looking for citations, they're looking for ideas and key words, because we've done this so much. We're looking for keywords, key concepts, key writing that lets us know that you've read, that you've analyzed, that you've researched, that you're doing things correctly in APA and spelling, grammar, all that. And so what's kind of funny is if I go through that APA or the video and I sit there and lay all these things out, I will eventually get very easily more feedback in that minute, like that video that I do, than anything I can write. Now here's the big joke, okay? When you get written feedback, there is some personalization to it. But what I've noticed in all the written feedback systems is that it's very cut and paste, meaning if you type in some keywords, it'll pop up. Like, say I don't like your APA, I put APA, and I got 5 things I've typed up over the years, and I say, well, I'm going to use that one, click. And then I write down maybe another page, well, I'll use that one this time, and then I'll use this one this time. And so it looks like I've written a lot, but in reality, I haven't. I just cut and paste, and that's all it is. And actually, it's like auto-fill-in. And so that's kind of the big joke about that. There is some written feedback that is personal, and then there's some that is like you add a little bit, then cut and paste, So what I'm trying to suggest to you is that videos do take a lot more time. They do take a lot more, like I read the paper, and then what I do is I go back and look at it, and I sit there and grade them, and I show you what I'm looking at because I've seen it before. And so I let you see that, one, it is for you. It does take more time to do it. It does show you that I'm looking at different parts of your paper, and you get more feedback with that. Now, some students don't like that because they like written, and they like it very limited, and they want it so they can argue about every little point, and that's fine. But at the end of the day, the best thing, if you really want to really edit your papers, is to send it through a writing center, do it through the Perla writing program. You can have a counselor or some type of academic advisor go over it. That's really the best process for what some students want to see. When you're actually doing it as a professor, there's different things that different professors want. For example, I focus on how you organize work, how you're developing paragraphs, how you're citing good paragraphs, avoiding conversational tone, good grammar. There's a number of things that I look for when I'm going through a paper. Now, other professors they might be obsessed with time or length, or they may be really APA oriented, and those are all important things. So you learn different things that are important to different people. And so again, I'll say if we celebrate the diversity of students, then you need to also celebrate the diversity of professors. And that's what really brings the whole educational thing together, is that we all see things differently and we stress different points, and that we grow with that. And to sit there, every now and then I get a student that says, well, why don't professors rate 100% the same? Well, then I could say, well, why don't you all write the papers the same, right? Why do students not write papers exactly the same so professors will grade exactly the same? You see, that would be silly, So what I'm trying to suggest here is that when a professor sits there and says, here's my home phone number, I'm taking calls, videos, written feedback, whatever, really embrace that and thank that professor. I don't need thanks because I'm retired. I don't need thanks. But take that time to think, this person's putting a lot of effort into this. You may not like their grade. That might be the driver. It is the driver, by the way. But that should not be the reason you say, I don't like the feedback or I don't like what's going on. That would be something that look at what they're saying and then adjust it and improve, right? So sometimes when we have the power to give feedback, we have to be responsible with it. For example, there's a lot of things I'd like to say in giving feedback to students in their papers, but what's the point, right? It could hurt people's feelings. It could make them not want to be in school. It may stress the point that there's a lot of things going on and school isn't one of them. So my point being is take the feedback for what it is. Look at the effort the professor's putting into it, and when you give that feedback, think about from the perspective: are they accessible? Are they giving me feedback? Are they trying their best to make the class as interesting as possible, especially online? And that might be a better way of approaching it versus sitting there thinking, well, I don't like the grades, so I don't like anything else. And that would be maybe not so genuine and maybe not so responsive, like valid, meaning it's not really what's going on, it's just because of a grade issue. I've taught at some schools where I've told them, if surveys are that important, I'll just inflate the grades, if that's what it's all about, because grade inflation or inflated grades get less complaints, and that's a fact. Okay, so a good school will sit there and say, yes, this professor's a little harder, but they're consistent. They're very focused on their students. They can see the bigger picture, and that's what good schools do. Okay, if your school doesn't do that, then you're probably not at a good school, and you need to think about that, and you need to say something. If you're always getting rainbows and butterflies and unicorns and all these things, you might want to sit there and ask the professor, can you grade me and make me a better student? Don't just accept the easy A, earn the A, and that might be something to do as well. I appreciate it, and again, thanks for the topic and the suggestions, and best of luck.